sewing friends, welcome to my sewing room. My name's Beth, and if you're new, welcome. Today I'm making a simple project. I was asked to make sort of a memory pillow for a friend. I'm using an old soccer jersey and I made a really easy pillow. Let's get started. I started this project to make this pillow while I was camping at the beach this week, and I'm really happy I had my sewing machine along, but truth be told, I did not get as much sewing done as I had hoped. But I started my project here. I'm using 4.5-inch squares to surround that soccer jersey, and I started, like I often do, making some half square triangles with a pencil line down the middle of those squares, and then I sewed on both sides of the pencil line to make some scrappy half square triangles using some gray and black prints. In my trailer, I have a low wattage iron, and I have a little pressing mat that I made to go over the cutting board, so it makes for a real portable ironing surface. And after I made my half square triangles, I pressed them, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make some hourglass blocks using these half square triangles. Two different half square triangles. I tried to alternate the darker and lighter fabrics, and then I put the seams together so they would nestle there together, and then I drew a pencil line going from corner to corner again, and I'll be sewing on both sides of that pencil line. And after I cut along the pencil line and press these open, I will have some hourglass blocks. After pressing my blocks, I trimmed them all to 3.5 inches. I took my hourglass blocks and I started arranging them around the back of this jersey. I'm going to be cutting this back of this jersey into a square to fit my hourglass blocks, and I was just kind of testing this out to see how it was going to work. I put my little hourglass blocks into 4 groups of 4. So I had 4 strips with 4 hourglass blocks, and that's all that I got done on my trip. I was hoping to get more accomplished, but of course it was just too beautiful outside, and I packed this all up and I brought it home to my sewing room, and that's where I finished up. The other thing was I was a little bit nervous about cutting this shirt. I don't know why, but every time I make one of these memory type shirts, I'm a little nervous about cutting it because you know it's the only one. So I took my 4 strips and laid them around the back of this shirt to see if it was going to work. And I measured each of my strips of blocks here are 12.5 inches. So I needed to cut the back of this jersey into a 12.5 inch square. So I measured 12.5 inches, and rather than cut my square 12.5 inches, I'm cutting it larger, just a little bit larger. I'm going to be adding a very lightweight interfacing to the back, and when I add that interfacing, that's when I will cut the back of this shirt into that 12.5 inch square. I cut a piece of interfacing, lightweight interfacing, the size of the back of that shirt, and I used a pressing cloth, just a piece of cotton, to press on top of that interfacing. One side of the interfacing is kind of bumpy, and that's the side that has the glue or the whatever it is that adheres to your fabric. So it's the bumpy side needs to go onto the back of whatever you are putting it on. So now that I have my interfacing on, I'm going to cut my square 12.5 inches. It didn't take long to add those strips of hourglass blocks around my shirt here, and for the four corners I just cut 4 3.5-inch squares to be sort of in the corner of this pillow. Before I add it back into my pillow, I want to add some batting to the front. And I had the perfect size scrap here left over from something. I just needed to trim the edge off. And I will be basting this down with my 505 spray, just a tiny bit to keep it all in place. And I'm going to add just a few quilting lines. I'll be going around the shirt, and then I'll be going next to that seam on the hourglass side of the seam, and then one more time through the center of the hourglass blocks. After getting my pillow front quilted, I cut away the excess batting, and then I was ready to add a backing fabric. I found this beautiful heavyweight daisy fabric that I think is going to be fun for the back of this pillow, and I cut it just a little bit bigger than the pillow front just in case things move a little bit when I'm sewing around, and it really doesn't hurt to have that excess there. So I pinned these two pieces together, right sides together. I sewed around the whole thing, leaving an opening so that I can fill it with some polyfill. the last thing I did was I took a needle and thread and I closed up that opening with a gray thread to match. It didn't take long, and before you knew it, my pillow is complete. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.